see in other people. So that's how I came up with that name. The other story that Brian was talking about was I went to this poetry show, and everybody who was at the church, and everybody was introducing themselves. They had stage names and all of that. So I had jotted down a whole bunch of stuff on my list of different names. I came up with one, and then the dude who performed directly in front of me had that same name. So I had to go back and regroup on the spot. But thank y'all for coming. Those of you who are my personal guests, I appreciate y'all for showing up and giving me some love. Thank y'all very much.
Roundup on your grass.
That's my neighbor who don't like me because I don't do anything in my yard. We'll get over it. All right, so like Brian said, I got into poetry because of my failed rap career. When I was in high school, everybody wanted to be a rapper, right? So me and some of my homeboys, we had a song called I Know I Look Good, right? So I'm gonna do that for y'all tonight so y'all know why my rap career ain't. All right, so but it got some audience participation. So I need y'all to do the chorus. And the chorus goes like, I look good, I know I look good, I look good, I know I look good,
Good. I know I look good. I look good. I know I look good. I look good. I know I look good. I look good. I know I look good.
I said I'm 5'8" with a handsome face, taking pretty girls and putting them in their place. You gotta see, you don't look better than me. Yeah, I know that I'm F-I-N-E. I wear me some shorts to show the muscular legs. Girls start to drool and begin to beg to see the body that turns them on. I got the perfect physique, man, ain't nothing wrong. I look so good, I don't need a wife. Well, maybe I do. Psych, I was lying. You need to get mad because I know I look good.
I look good. I know I look good. I look good. I know I look good. I know I look good. Yeah.
So, all of my homeboys from the 80s, early 90s, they got a verse. So if you see them out in the street, ask them for their verse.
Wait, verse.
I did in college, I don't remember my verse.
Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this. I got a couple pieces I want to share with y'all. And this first one, I haven't done it in a while, so I hope I don't trip up on it. But this first one is called Inky Hammer, Momo Davis. Alright, for those of you who are not automotive enthusiasts, those are brand names for wheels, aftermarket wheels. Alright, Inky Hammer, Momo Davis. I remember that day vividly, riding through my neighborhood, and my homeboy little brother stopped me. I was like, homie, what's up? And he said, man, I'm trying to get it in. I was like, what you talking about? He said, dude, I'm trying to sell these rims. I said, word? How much? Man, for you, $200. Now, mind you, this was the mid-90s. And back then, you was the shit if you had rims. And let's not mention, they were 5 stars. But what they did was, they put my car in the game, or so I thought. But a couple of days later, I went out and bought 2 12s and a particle board box and an amp. Now, I'm swinging and banging on these amps. Tramps, boppers, loose women, whatever you want to call them. Put some Krispy Kreme on the tires and I called them. But back to me. In my mind, there wasn't a car that could get with my load. And then I upgraded to some Chrome 16s. They wasn't 20s, but I kept them clean. Now, the reason I'm telling you about my automotive pilgrimage is because at some point, my image was attached to my self-esteem. And whoever thought that what we bought and what we do will be a part of what strangers thought about you and become so internalized that even right now, outside, I got rims on the ride. But it's because I like the style, not for other people, or so I convince myself. What else is crazy? Other people are going broke to impress me. Ironically, I'm really not impressed if you got a nice car. It ain't mine. I can't shine in it. But people are making bad financial decisions so their paint job can have designs in it. And in the South, these logo cars are getting ridiculous. looking like souped up candy bars. I saw one that was painted like a sun kiss. And I say, that is complete and utter foolishness. They ain't getting no royalties from these companies that they freely advertising, but they riding clean, showing their materialistic self-esteem. And can we find cheaper and healthier ways to feel good about our condition? Because this recession will teach you a lesson about trying to keep up with the Joneses. Because I bet Mr. Jones is willing to take food stamps just like anybody in the projects will. But still, his self-image is damaged. This middle-class philosophy has trickled down to poverty, because broke folks will even act funny. This society of baby boomers and their seeds has made us consumers that live by greed. I'm gonna need y'all to get it together and stop buying smartphones to prove your status. Because every month you will get robbed by your carrier. Buying cars you can't afford just because you got a 2% raise. Renting rims just so you can go to Mardi Gras. And please stop putting fluorescent colors on luxury cars. Find your self-esteem in the mirror and within your actions for the community, not in spending money on tomfoolery. But hey, don't listen to me. Life is a game that's hard to win, especially when I'm waiting on my 22s to come in. All right. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I got a piece called Domestic Violence. Now I got a caveat I need to put out there. For those of you who know and see my father, I'm not talking about him. My daddy did not whip ass. Don't want y'all running up on the street like Mr. Rito was going up. This is actually inspired from, different circumstances. And we all know people who dealt with it and had it in their families. Tell me, what's a lad to do? Sitting here vulnerable as daddy beats you. But I'm just a kid. What am I big enough to do? When he comes home drunk as Cooler Brown, the world has beat him down, so he beats you down. Bending the crown you wear as a queen. Man, you wouldn't believe the shit that I've seen. The words that I've heard and the hatred in his words. I can't wait till I come of age and big enough to say, you touch her again, I swear to God and his disciples I'll kill you. And he'll probably say, boy, what you gonna do? I'll whoop your little ass too. Well, today, that's just an ass whooping I'm gonna have to take. And besides, she's taken enough for me, and that day came, and inevitably, he backed down on me. You see, most of these types are only strong when they can beat their wife. They won't fight another man, they're so cowardly in their pedigree. But that's my daddy. The man that played half the role in birthing me. And I hope that I don't grow to be just like him. He eventually left us and you'd think that we'd be free, but he kept us captive with the memory of beatings that required hospital visits and stitches, jaws wired shut and being called ungrateful sons of bitches. We were shackled by the thought of cleaning up my mother's blood, and you call that love. You left us but didn't let go, and just like the movie, my mother Anime had to eat the cake, and it ended the exact same way. And can you imagine feeling helpless when the two people you were sworn to honor, according to the Bible, fight like they're bitter rivals? It's the Hatfields and McCoys in my living room. But then again, there were those small wins, like the time when Mama hit him with the broom, and he fell and slid halfway across the room. And at one time, he was so drunk, he went to our neighbor's home, thinking he was at the house. And Mr. Johnson beat him up, then cussed him out. And Daddy didn't do shit. But take that ass with him. And there was that time, he was so loaded that he passed out. And me and my sister kicked him half the night. And when he got up, we told him he had gotten in a fight with a man walking down the street last night. And today we laugh. We laugh about those ironic wins. But how can we laugh at the devil's sins? Because as usual, when he sobered up, he just beat my mama up again and again. And speaking of today, even now I'm filled with such anger. Plus my mom's went through such hurt that as a man, I find it difficult to make my relationships work. Because my old lady easily gets me upset. And sometimes I can vividly see my hands around her damn neck. And I get scared. So scared like I used to be when that monster beat my mama. But why? He can't hurt me no more. He's old, I lift weights, and I got guns galore. But it's the fear. The fear from my childhood that rears its head. And I never want my kids to ever feel that scared, that fretful and frightened. I prefer them to be healthy and enlightened, protective and strong, receiving the love that they long for. And who knew that the abuse we receive from you would affect us the way they do. But now look at you, a broken shell of a man that can hardly stand, wishing the punching bag you had as a wife was by you now. And although she has forgiven you, there still are some things that she just won't do, especially for you. So fuck your apology. It doesn't heal these broken bones and black eyes. It doesn't erase the bad taste of blood in our mouths. It doesn't eliminate the childhood of hate I lived. Nor does it fix you not seeing your grandkids. It doesn't fix the insecurity you instilled in mom and me. It doesn't fix the faulty definition of love I saw as a boy. Hell no. I don't want your hug now. My emotions are not a toy. Not a toy for you to play with, then hit, and then try to fix by buying that shit. But that's the past. And you are still my dad. And I'm glad to have had my extended family, because without them, I don't know where I'd be. I guess what's best for you to know is you don't get my sympathy. Nor do I need or want your empathy. So really, fuck your apology. So don't ask why she treats you so bad, because you tried to beat into her some sense. But she got it now. You've been remorseful ever since. But I guess that's the irony of domestic violence. Y'all all right? Y'all all right? Okay. Now this next piece,
You all right?
I'm good. I'm straight, folks. I'm straight.
What are your prayers for your mom?
All right. Right now, I need, if you don't have a drink, I need y'all to get a drink, because we're going to take a toast on this one. So if you don't have one, we're going to go to the bar and get you one. Tell a couple stories.
He's on the house?
These typical bartenders and made a house. Alright, so this piece I actually wrote out of anger because let me back up. I got kids, right? I love the fact that I do have kids, and there's nothing more powerful than to be there and see the child come out and then like notice yours. So, but the point I'm trying to make is, as a grown man, when I saw my child, my first child being born, I cried uncontrollably. So like, I'm calling my mama to tell my mama, hey, you got a granddaughter, and hey, mama, see, baby, and I couldn't get it out. So the woman who just had a child had to speak clearly and tell my mama what happened, give all the details, all of that. So I just couldn't get it together. So this piece is basically an appreciation of single parent mothers and some of the foolishness they go through when they do have baby daddy drama. And I want to dedicate this piece to Erica. Today is her birthday, and she likes this piece, so I'm doing this one for you. Not you. All right, the name of this piece, the name of this one is called Punk Ass Marcus. On the West Coast, alright, the name is called Punk Ass Marcus. On the West Coast, a name for a lame is a mark. And if your lamedom is so extreme, to some of us, you will be called a Marcus. So much of a mark you make us cuss whenever we discuss you. And I'm actually disgusted by you. So, fuck you, Marcus.
That's it. Rewind.
Alright.
Yeah, call him Marcus.
On the West Coast, a name for a lame is a mark. And if your lamedom is so extreme, to some of us, you will be called a Marcus. So much of a mark you make us cuss whenever we discuss you. And I'm actually disgusted by you. So, fuck you, Marcus. You ain't shit. Won't be shit, and ain't got shit. Except for what you get from a woman. And ironically, every woman that has ever loved you, you have brought trouble to. Even your enabling ass mama. The queen bitch of your stupidity. And partly the reason for your lack of responsibility. Ironically, every woman that has ever loved you, you have brought trouble to. Even your enabling ass mama. The queen bitch of your stupidity. And partly the reason for your lack of responsibility. Besides God's blessing of fathering kids, nothing else you've done has ever ended positive. Let's see. Your marriage ended in divorce. You got kicked out of the military. And after almost 40 years, you still have a pointless career. You just waiting on the insurance money when your mama leaves here. And after almost 40 years, you still have a pointless career. You just waiting on the insurance money when your mama leaves here. Without being prompted by anyone, not even your firstborn son respects you. And children, yeah, you have a few. And never once have you sufficiently done what a father is supposed to do, besides sleep with the mother. You bring a brand new meaning to the term, sorry, motherfucker. You bring a brand new meaning to the term, sorry, motherfucker. Just know that once upon a time she loved you, and even put up with the trifling things that you put her through, and you messed it up. So much so that an ass whooping is what's next for you. And trust, many times we wanted to, and the only thing that saved you, she said for us not to. And let child support court deal with you. So if I was you, I'd tread lightly, because one more mistake could land all of us in a place that we would all hate. It's a new movie, coming to an ass near you, starring my foot, in a tragic film called The Inevitable Physical Violence. Because your voice as a parent is silent, and then you show up on birthdays with nothing to say, especially about the last 6 months you didn't pay child support, or didn't follow through on a promise that you volunteered to do. And don't even front, it's clear. You never intended to take care of anything over here. And God forbid you have to go without so your children have anything. But pretty soon, your kids will see you for who you really are. By far sacrificing something that you just won't do. With your mark ass.
Come on now.
So, lift your glass as we toast to you. May your tax return forever be garnished. May your tax return forever be garnished. May your jewelry either be stolen or tarnished. May that child support warrant be never ending. Unfortunately, because your ass just keep having children. May your kids grow to be grossly successful, be nationally known, and never acknowledge you. So, fuck you, Marcus. The best advice I can give you on any given day or night is to please don't be a punk ass Marcus all your life. Alright, so those are all pieces I've done before. So I'm trying some new stuff for y'all. That's alright? That's alright?
Go ahead, Rito.
This is a new one. I didn't know that I was gaining weight until I was back. So by the time I realized that, things had already happened. So So, man, my dad is a funny dude for those of y'all who don't know him. But, you know, I started working out and I lost a couple pounds. So my dad was like, man, it looks like your fat ass losing weight. And I was like, is that a compliment or insult? I don't know what that is. So, the point is, this piece is called By the Time. So, y'all figure it out. By the time somebody told me there was a thin line between humor and sarcasm, I had already hurt somebody's feelings. My dealings as a class clown didn't allow me to consider at what expense do I get this laugh. My jeers gained strength from their tears, as if they were Pac-Man's power pellets. And I guess it's a life lesson to understand the difference between popularity and dignity. By the time somebody told me to use a condom, I had already had sex. Fortunately for me, I did use a condom incorrectly. And thank God it didn't bust or impregnate us. I mean, I don't think I would have been the dad I was at 25, at 16. Plus the sex talk I had with my dad was, it's my dad. You saw what I put on your dressing? Yes, sir. All right. So just so you know what that meant, he left a brown paper bag full of condoms from the health department. And I guess what he meant was, best said unsaid. By the time somebody told me to drink responsibly, I had already fell down the stairs of residency and found out that them dudes I called the Four Horsemen were not my friends. Because in the end, I woke up face down on the floor in a hotel room with folks I did not even know. Just goes to show, vodka and drinking games are not a good mix, especially when you don't know your topics. By the time somebody told me I was their token Negro, I had already put 15 years in. And those colleagues I thought were my friend didn't care about me. They cared only about their own upward mobility and how my efforts could assist them.
Come on now.
And what's worse, all will be forgiven if their actions put students first. But alas, the thinking is me first and students last. But there's no need for me to be sore, because just like I tell my students, I had cleaned up my resume and found me a mentor. I guess the moral of the story is to try not to make a fatal mistake before you get your life straight. And if you do, understand that there's more to you than the sum of your bad decisions. God has made provisions to correct your wrongs, so we can all stop singing those same sad songs. Because there are errors I've made that others have not forgotten. And just know you don't have to get burned to know the fire is hot. Just make sure you learn from your past unfortunate lessons, because that's how you find the answer to life's questions.
All right.
All right.
I got two more for y'all. I'm gonna call it a night. All right, so ladies, what do y'all call sexy? Like when you want your man to dress up and be sexy for you, what you call sexy? Smelling good, so you gotta have no clothes on as long as you smell good. That's what you like. Just saying. So, all right, so the point is, this poem is about, just what I like, personally. And it's called When I Get Home. The phone rings. And a soft, sultry voice answers and says, "Hey, baby." I was wondering when you were going to call. And with a smile and a touch of Billy D. Williams, I answered, "Girl, even your sleepy voice is sexy." And then I asked my favorite question, "What do you have on?" And before she can answer, I say, "When I get home, be prepared to do something wrong. With nothing but a t-shirt and some perfume on. You can leave your bra and panties in the drawer. I want you just as you are. Now, Dina Howard wasn't a coward about her sexuality. And hell, she the reason I want you to dress like that for me. And no, I don't think that you are sex out. I just really want you, girl. And baby, I do respect you. But tonight, I'm gonna do something to you. Something that you just might find pleasurable. And in case I wasn't clear on the phone, when I get home, I want you to have on a t-shirt with no panties on. And she was like, what? And I said, a t-shirt with no panties on. And if for you that don't work, go in my closet and grab one of my dress shirts. And keep that same concept, but I want you to just barely button it up. I want you to be vaguely covered up. And you know my favorite color, blue, right? So make sure you grab that blue joint in the back. And dress like that, girl, just might go down on you. Right here in this living room. We'll never even make it to the damn bedroom. Because for me, we don't need all of that fancy lingerie. It's the simple things that I find sexy. Do you not understand what your body does for me? What it makes me want to do? Especially when I can clearly see your nipples peeking through. Licking your lips with that, ooh, I'm gonna eat you up type grin. With your baby soft, beautiful, dark brown skin. There's nothing sexier than your caramel mocha chocolate complexion. So now you think I'm a freak. But pardon me. It takes one to know one. And freaky is as freaky does. And the way I feel about you, even when we fucking, we making love.
Yeah, real
It takes one to know one. And freaky is as freaky does. And the way I feel about you, even when we fucking, we making love. Whether it's a quickie in the bathroom or us pretending it's our second honeymoon, we gonna get it in until you fall asleep. Sleep in the same position you had your last orgasm in. So like I said before, when I get home, make sure that you got a t-shirt and no panties on. All right, so y'all having a good time tonight? So, I'm experimenting, right? This will be the last piece that I'm gonna do. I'm experimenting because I've never done a piece of music before. So, before we get into it, I'm gonna need a female volunteer. I need a female volunteer.
You know, come on.
I can't get started because I don't have a volunteer. I need a volunteer. I need a female volunteer.
I thought it was. I ain't got no I put all the ones in there for that cake
Alright, so this piece is called It's Alright. That's alright?
It's all right.
Alright. So we. Y'all like that, Now, if you don't like my poetry, it's alright. I really don't write it for you to like. I write it for you to feel. words to course through your veins as if you mainline my rhymes. Did y'all hear that? It's alright. Ooh, that's okay. Y'all need to feel it. Check me out. Now, if I'm not the best poet you ever heard, it's alright. This expression is not to win a contest, but to confess my soul's conflictions, to manifest my thoughts into words, from the intellectual to the absurd. Y'all don't feel that? Now, if you're gonna clap your hands after what I thought was a clever line, it's alright. Because I know that we receive information differently, as long as you get it eventually. Now, if you don't like the fact that sometimes my poetry don't rhyme, it's alright. It's alright. As long as you are touched. Whatever emotion it conjures up in you, hold on to it. And that's probably the meaning of this seemingly artistic display of creativity. For you to get that feeling. That feeling I felt when I wrote it. You know why? It's alright. It's alright. Now, you don't have to pay me for my poetry. It's alright. I am a poet. I am a poet. And you know it. Now, if I spark the thought you never had before, it's alright. And if you tell me it inspired you to write, that's the best compliment. Because I'm content knowing that you got the content. So when this poem is over, you don't need to tell me you like it. Just take those thoughts and those feelings and write it. You know why? It's alright. Y'all hear that? Come on, y'all had to join me in this. Come on, get on up. Get out, get out. Come on, y'all get on up. Y'all see this?
I feel it. Battery died. I just came off a concert. Yeah,
My bad. And Eric know that too.
I'm G Change, y'all.